Welcome to Who Put This On, Season 5, Episode 31, where we watch Santa's in the Barn, Season 1, Episode 5. I'm Chris Lorenz.
This is Brian.
Robert Kitts.
The Santa BJ.
This is the ghost of Chris Max Pass.
Ooh.
All right, well, if this is the first time listening to us, we'd watch a different reality show each week, judging, critiquing, looking into all the minutiae. And Rob, what did we watch this week?
10 Santas from across the country live in a barn and compete to determine who most lives the Santa way. The would-be St. Nick's must vote out their peers, all counting down to a Christmas Eve grand finale where the last Santa standing will win $100,000 and the title of America's Best Santa. That's Santa's in the Barn on True TV.
Ooh, True TV. Yes, Matt?
Can I ask a question about the name?
Yes.
Is there an apostrophe in Santa's?
No.
Okay. Because if there were, it'd be like, yo, FYI, Santa is in the barn. And that's kind of creepy.
Not exactly, right? Like if it
It would be
wasn't
Santa's
apostrophe-
barn. It wouldn't make any sense.
No. It could also just be like if there were two people named Max in the barn, then you would put the apostrophe there. So if you consider Santa a name, then like that would work actually. In which case, actually, there should, since Santa is a name, it actually should have an apostrophe if you're truly going Christmas spirit.
I'm not sure I agree with that. Grammatically.
Okay.
Can we talk about grammar for 5 minutes?
All right, let's
not talk about grammar.
I'll give a brief overview of what happens in this episode. Oh man, sorry, now I'm all distracted. So this whole show takes place in a day where in the morning they got presents to determine who picked teams. And then, so the three people picked teams of two. So now there's 6 people left in the competition. So they do a challenge. The first 2 challenges. The first challenge is they do a laser challenge where they have to step over lasers and do like place a present and eat a cookie and write a message. Like if they were seeking into somebody's house, like you would do as a Santa. The right team won. We'll get into that. Then the second challenge was a decorating tree challenge. They literally cut down a tree, dragged it across a field, found shit in the yard, and then decorated a tree. And the one that finished first won. And then they had an elimination dinner where everyone voted and they kicked somebody off, which there was a tie, there's a tiebreaker, a lot of minutia there, but that's the overall what happens in this episode. Another note, I guess, is we watched episode 5. I can tell you we've seen a lot of episode 1s. We wanted to jump in a little bit, so we did it, and this is where we are. I think it was a good idea. I don't know where everyone else sits on it, but I think it was fun. I don't think we didn't really miss anything by jumping.
This one, it definitely worked out. Like there are a couple references to things we didn't understand, but mostly it worked. We've jumped in the middle before, and sometimes it's gone a little off the rails, but this was great.
I think seeing this as like a standard competition show, like, we could probably jump around. But like when you're watching like Keeping Up with the Kardashians, or Teen Mom, or like all these like intricate drama roll your eye shows, like it's super hard to jump in at any point in time, including the beginning of a season.
What are you talking about? You just jump in and you just gotta like roll with it. Like everything's just gonna keep coming.
You gotta watch like 4 or 5 episodes, and you gotta have like somebody that's watched them all with you so they can answer all your questions. Like that's the only way to watch those. Anyway, back to this show. So Santas. Has anyone actually dressed up as Santa before?
I've worn a hat. Does that count?
I have a hat sitting right next to me somewhere. I've been wearing a hat a lot this November. It's been kind of nice. But I think that's all I've done too.
Did you all go to like talk to Santa at the mall as a kid?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. I don't have a whole lot of memories of that, but I'm 100% sure that's happened.
I don't think
sure.
I did. But maybe I did and don't remember.
Are there any pictures of it? Because usually you get the picture with it.
See, I don't recall any pictures of this.
Do we need to call up the Kits family and
We gotta dial Papa Kits into this call right now.
yeah, dial send them
Midnight
the-
Papa Kids would be a little too wild for us, I think.
Oh yeah.
Separate question: what age did you all believe in Santa at some point, and what age did you believe in Santa till?
Yes, and I have
Spoiler.
no clue. I have no clue. Don't listen to this with your kid in the car.
I would say I knew it was fake by the time I was like 5. But I definitely believed the Tooth Fairy for longer.
I'm gonna say the same as Chris. I definitely believed at some point, and I don't remember when that changed.
I have a I just have an issue with like the whole Santa thing. I think lying to your kid is just like really odd, and this seems like a really odd thing to lie about. Just like I don't get it.
It's very weird.
I don't
Like-
understand why we normalize lying to our children like this.
This is years ago before I had a kid, and there's this mom was talking to my wife, and she's like, her kid started lying to her, and she's like, I can't believe my kid's lying to me. How'd they learn that? And I think to myself, you lie to your kid constantly. Why is this so hard to understand?
It's a grand passage of when your kid starts lying to you.
Yeah, but it's like when my kid starts lying to me, I'll be like, oh, they figured it out. Like, I won't be like, how did this happen?
The
That's
real question will be like, how long has this been happening?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure. It's like, oh, buddy.
Is this like first? Is this the 100th? What's going on here?
Yeah.
So let's get into the show a bit. So should we go over the people, or do you want to just get into the whole presents thing?
I want to talk about the title. Because when I heard we watch a show called Santa's in the Barn, I thought the barn was going to be much more central to the plot, and it's kind of irrelevant. And
It's a terrible name. Like, who named this thing?
It's really Santa's in the house.
like I think they should be trapped in the barn. Like I think they shouldn't be able to like get out. Like that's part of the thing, that they're in the barn and they can't leave.
But then how do you have the challenges?
You got to figure out indoor challenges.
It's escape room. It's a 8-week escape room.
Yeah.
It's Saw 2. You're just stuck in that house.
I mean, Saw 2 is like an escape room. Yeah, like that's a.
I think
same thing.
Saw 1 was also an escape room, but it was only 2 people
I haven't seen them, so.
instead of 8 or 10 or however many people are in the show. Yeah, because we don't know. We didn't watch the beginning. Assume 10.
Yeah, they did mention 10.
They mentioned it like 4 times.
Eh.
Details just gloss over as you scroll on your phone.
Rob, what do you think a better name for the show would have been?
Oh, that's a really good question that I'm not prepared for.
Is there a reason why they had to be in the barn? Like, put them anywhere else.
I think that's just what the house they got for the show.
Also, they competed for America's Next Top Santa.
Maybe that's the name of the show, America's Next Top Santa. Like maybe that'd be a better name.
That is a much better name. For
That
this.
is definitely a better name.
They're definitely not allowed to do that.
Definitely not. But that's what
You
makes
don't know
it good.
that. Who owns True TV? They could be the same network.
It's not.
Oh, right.
But like you can also like the show reminded you a little bit of like when we watched Canada's Worst Driver. It's like this is America's Best Santa. You can just call it that. That doesn't seem like a great name either.
That's not a terrible name.
I don't think you need a great name for this.
You definitely need a great name for this.
There's only one season for a reason, Chris. The name killed it.
Let's get
Totally
into that
got it.
later. I think there's more reasons for that, but let's get into this presents business. All
Let's do
right.
the presents.
So at various points in the show, they show this clock that goes like Christmas morning or like whatever morning. And it's presents.
Christmas morning, yeah.
Christmas morning. It says say Christmas morning
It's Christmas every day.
for every day on the show, which lasts 10 days.
I named Groundhog Day.
8 days.
8 days.
8
Oh,
8 episodes, right?
Good
Yep.
point. So they open presents, and the people that get candy canes are leaders, and the other people get real presents. Somebody got some sort of game thing they showed, which was too quick to really know what it was.
I mean, one person didn't get a candy cane and also didn't get a real present.
What did they get?
A lump
Oh.
of coal.
Oh, I missed that. This
I mean,
show is
technically, you know, maybe coal is useful. You can burn it for fuel or something. But in Santa lore, a lump of coal is not what you want.
Yeah, so there were 6 people, 3 got captains, and then
one person got a
coal.
game thing.
one person got the little Game Boy thing.
And one person got like looked like kind of like a Bluetooth speaker or something.
Oh
I hope that's
yeah.
what it was.
It was definitely a speaker. Yeah, 100% a speaker. It was like a UE Bluetooth speaker.
Just a
think
quick
this is-
advertising behind the show.
Right. Definitely.
I mean, I don't know if that was advertising. I actually did not know what brand that thing was. So where was the close up? Like if this had been Survivor, definitely would have close up on the logo for
Mhm.
sure.
That's true.
These presents brought to you by Yui.
They actually did zoom in on a Think Geek logo, which is now
Yeah.
a dead brand.
Oh, did they? I missed that.
Oh yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so the people that let's go over some of the people here so we can kind of know. So Steve is a fireman Santa. That's his gimmick. Amber
It's not his
is-
gimmick. He's an actual fireman.
Yeah, but that's the gimmick for his show. Like he's a fireman, that's fine, but like his gimmick in the show, he's a fireman and he's a Santa.
Right.
Amber is some sort of military Santa sister, and they're on the red team. Then we've got the green team.
She's Santa's sister? She's not just Santa?
No,
Oh, I thought she was just Santa.
I mean all of these people. We'll get into that, but like she's considered military Santa. Anyway, then we've got Carl, which is pirate Santa. He's old man, real beard, like real Santa you'd expect.
They
But
call
in-
it. Go on, go on.
The vintage crew. He's part of the vintage alliance. The vintage alliance. Then we've
No,
got,
they clarified they're not an alliance.
but they are. Just because they don't say
Definitely
they are. Then we got Tommy the elf, where he dresses up in a bodysuit and he's more of an elf than Santa. They're the green. They're the
I mean,
green
he's
team.
100% an elf. Like, there's no doubt. He is. He says he's an elf. Like, initially, I was a little confused. I'm like, his Santa outfit's kind of weird, and then like, it just turned out he's an elf.
Then we got blue team. We got Paul. He's old man. He just looks like Santa. That's his gimmick. He's part of the Vintage Alliance. And then we've got Lauren, which is the Hawaiian Santa, but is also part of the Vintage Alliance. And they're on the blue team. I don't know who got what present, and I don't really care. So we're moving on to the first challenge, I guess, right? So we talk about this laser challenge. So the laser challenge is a little more complicated because they have 2 different colored lasers, and each person is wearing a different colored glasses to see one laser. So they can see one color laser and the other person can see the other color laser, and they have to go into this like makeshift room and like cross it and, you know, eat some cookies and deliver a present and leave a message, and they're timed
Why do you call it a makeshift room?
because
It's a-
it's not a real room. Like
It's
everything
a
in
room.
the
Real room. It's a real room. There's real stairs going up to it. This was like in a real house.
I don't know.
It might have been a soundstage. I don't know.
I don't know why I called it a makeshift room. You know, leave me alone.
So when we read the show description and I was like, oh, we should episode 5. There's a booby trapped house. I was getting like Home Alone vibes. It turned
Right.
out this was more entrapment than
Yeah.
Home Alone.
Thank
There wasn't
you for
really
mentioning
anyone
the
getting paint cans in the face. But
He dips beneath the lasers.
What?
I haven't seen entrapment.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
It's kind of was like Ocean's 12, which is the joke the guy makes, right?
He made a lot of stupid jokes.
Yeah. So the first crew that goes through is Amber and Steve, which are part of the young crew. and they just do a really good job here. They hit 2 lasers. They're done really quick. Like none of the other crews really are close. But the best crew was the green crew. Or I think it was the crew. It doesn't matter.
Oh, it was definitely the green crew.
I mean, they go through and they try to go through this one laser, and the dude just like steps on it, and then they're like, "Oh, you hit that," and then he steps back. Then he just keeps stepping on it, the same laser, and like there's no the other team did the same thing where they kill laser, they just move on. This person just like hit it 10 times and took this crew like 15, double the amount of time the first crew took.
It was 19 minutes.
Versus
And the
like,
first, well, yeah, it was like 7:12 or 7:21, something like that.
and I don't remember what the other crew is also kind of, I don't know.
The other crew was
It-
decent. Like green was just so bad. The other two were kind of close, but like red was clearly the better.
the team that came second, at least in the editing, it made it seem like the elf dude was doing a great job giving the other person directions, and the other person just wasn't.
Oh yeah. The vintage Santa wasn't doing his part.
Right. It seemed like just like a kid like helping a grandpa through life. No help coming the other way.
And this is why it's Ocean 68.
Oh, what's that movie
I
where the
appreciate
old men go into space?
Space Cowboys
Space Cowboys, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
or Armageddon.
I was thinking Armageddon.
Not the one I was thinking about, but yes.
But like the pitch for Space Cowboys must have been like, hey, it's Armageddon with old people.
100%.
Is that the pitch? I don't know. I can't think about that right now. So then after this challenge, they like go back and have some sort of like some time to make alliances and talk, right? Like
Politicking.
what?
Politicking.
They're politicking. So like
Yeah.
the one thing about the show, which I find weird, is that people like there's no judges that kick anyone off. It's just a vote. It's like a survivor vote, which we don't see that often.
I was definitely disappointed it was just a vote off and there wasn't a more Santa themed elimination process.
What
Yeah, I
kind of
think because they do the 2 challenges, right? Like they wouldn't really be able to make an episode with like 2 challenges plus the elimination thing, maybe.
Yeah.
well, this like the first challenge would have to be bigger and then lead to like 2 people doing like an elimination challenge, right?
Totally. Right.
That's usually how it works.
100%.
Well, or you just
Also
have the
right.
second challenge like is just individual and whoever comes in last is eliminated. Like that's how the cooking shows
That's-
do it.
Yeah, that's the same thing, right? That effectively is the same thing.
Yeah.
But I really wish that they would have had like the tribunal here, where on like Survivor, when you get kicked off towards the second half of the show, you like at the end get to pick who wins.
I mean, maybe they do. You don't know that.
I mean,
Yeah.
when you're kicking off 5, like, and you're not considered part of the tribunal at that point.
Maybe it's a redemption house tribunal. They haven't told
Maybe
us
it's
about
just-
it.
Maybe it's
redemption.
secret tribunal, right? Like I don't know how the last episode's gonna work. Like it seems like because there's only 8 episodes and 10 people, the last episode would be like there's 3 people remaining.
It's probably it could be like the challenge where they have to just do some like obnoxious challenge at the end, and the winner wins, loser loses.
I could
There's a
definitely see
fire
that.
There's a fire challenge.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that like we chose this over episode 8. We were also debating playing episode 8 instead of 5.
Yeah.
Then we'd know if there was a tribunal or not, Brian. So we
Yeah,
really
right.
was getting some
we
info.
would know.
Now we got to go
I-
back and figure that out.
I thought the episode was decent. Like it definitely gave. I feel like I understand the show pretty well.
I just think that the politicking gets a little bit like more interesting when you like when you have to vote these people off, but you can't be a complete dick because then you need them to vote for you.
I get that. Like the part of the thing is like they're like trying to make a show about like the holiday spirit.
This would be part about the holiday spirit because like they need you need their votes after they're gone versus like
I
now
feel like
you
there's
just
some
have
of that happening. Like in the episode, one of the things is like the one guy just has this like special idol that gives him like this compass thing that gives him some power, and he just gifts it to someone else. I feel like he must be getting some level of like love that like there must be some point to it.
I don't he didn't want the stress of having it is
You
what
might
it
just
is.
be an
Okay.
idiot.
Okay,
He
if you
seems
don't
like an idiotic thing to do.
let's say you have a decision, you have a power, and you don't want the stress. You can just decide, be like, hey, I will not use it. Done. Right? No stress. You no longer have the compass. You don't have to give it to someone else for them to use it.
Yeah, I agree. So let's give this a little more. So Steve the fireman guy, gives it to the elf. What's his name? Tommy the elf. And then in the last challenge, Tommy looks at that course and is like, I'm fine with my, old man and Steve and Amber, the young people together. Like, what is this?
I'm not sure. Was he allowed to change teams in the middle of the
Yeah,
two
they
challenges?
asked him.
Yeah.
They asked him.
And would he have been able to choose Steve and Amber? Like, I don't know what he's allowed to do. Is he allowed to choose one of the captains?
It seemed like he could switch the teams up to whatever he wanted.
It seemed like he could do whatever. He's like, I'm with Steve now. Amber's with Carl and whatever. Like, you can just change up the teams.
Right. Yeah, he's an idiot.
Exactly.
Tommy went home, and it's his own damn fault.
So let's get into this last challenge, which was kind of interesting. So they cut down a tree, they drag it across some sort of, I don't know. They said a lake. I didn't really understand what they dragged.
Pond,
across.
ice pond.
Ice pond.
with
And
the
then
wind.
they had to take that tree and run it across a field. It's like snow laden field, and then place it in a tree stand. And then they had to untangle some lights, find 40 balls in a specific color in this field that are all stretched everywhere.
Ornaments.
Yeah. Ornaments. That's fair.
Balls of color. That's what everybody calls them.
Balls of color.
Blue balls.
Then they had to decorate this tree with the blue balls and lights, and they had a topper and they had garland. But it was a competition, so trees looked like ass at the end. But
Trees looked reasonable, to be honest, for this to be a timed competition. They were wrapping the lights around. I would definitely be throwing the lights on it.
maybe there's some stipulation. You don't know.
Right, must be.
They must have had something like that. And surprise, surprise, the young Steve and Amber won again versus all the old men.
They also had the head start.
Yes. So if you win the first challenge, you get the head start, which was 5 extra blue balls instead of versus the regular 40. You had to
Well,
only get 35.
five of them are not on the ground. They're already at your station.
you need to get
only have to
35.
You only have to find 35.
Which isn't that much of an advantage.
No.
They
The real
definitely
advantage
more
was
than-
Steve just be able to pick up the tree by himself and run it across the field while everyone else is dragging the tree, the two of them working together.
And just manhandling the tree, cutting down the tree. They were done cutting down the tree. They were ahead the whole time.
I don't know if you got that much of advantage from the cutting, but the dragging was the real big.
The light untangling also, Amber, just incredible. I was just watching her. I'm like, this is I've never seen something like this. She was just able to do it. You see people who are strong, people who can just untangle crazy Christmas lights. That's unique.
And she was like, I'm really good at untangling lights. I was kind of like, yeah, we'll see. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, she's really crushing this.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
We didn't see episode 1 or 2 where we would have found out what she does for a living. Which might have.
She's in the military.
Is she in the military or just likes the military?
Maybe she
I bet you she
was.
I would imagine she was.
She made a reference to moving a lot, which also seems like it aligns with military.
Well, moving a
she
lot
could be
might
a
have been
military
her.
brat.
Yeah.
When you're in the military, you gotta untangle Christmas lights really often.
When you set up those Christmas parties, that's what you do.
You gotta win the war on Christmas.
Overall, this challenge was kind of interesting. I thought it was kind of fun. it was kind of lighthearted. Like no one's like cheating or it was just kind of an enjoyable challenge, even though you know who's gonna win, and it's pretty obvious and who is gonna win at the end. But they did a decent job of trying to make it seem like the other teams could have won.
Even if the other team, the second place team, was given the 5 ornament advantage, they would have lost.
Oh yeah.
Like I saw the board at the end. Like it was like they at least had 15 left.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is why you need to have stiff arm people. None of this nice BS.
I would, you know, when you're finding your ornament, if I saw someone else's, I would just be kicking them as far as possible.
Yup.
Well,
in the lake.
Punting the shit out of them right into the pond. Yeah. Go get that, fucking Santa.
I'm sure that's also against the rules. We can't have you on any of these shows. You're not allowed on my team with your cheating ass.
You gotta have the compass then, Chris.
Yeah, get off my team. So I guess
I just punt the ornament into the pond. I'm like, get that fucking pirate.
I think you want him on your team so he's not like punting your own stuff.
Like,
I don't want to get DQ'd, dude. I don't want this disqualification.
go get that treasure.
So I guess this brings up a point that I have with the show is that like, so the way people get eliminated on the show is the voting, essentially. But then they have this element of all these challenge. This challenge specifically was both challenges were very physical. Like the younger you are, the like easier these challenges really are. I guess there's probably some divide there that where it wouldn't really matter that much. But anyway,
Being the Santa is a very physical job. Like you have to, you have to be reasonably good shape. Like you all these kids are jumping on you. You gotta go down chimneys. You gotta eat these cookies. You gotta work. Like it's a demanding job.
You know,
How do you stay in such good shape eating all those cookies though? Like it doesn't seem like a very high
exactly.
protein diet.
You have to make sure that the cookies don't kill you like 3 years later, and you can be Santa for 50 years. So you have to work out in the middle of those cookies, like work out for the rest of the year.
that's
The
one
cookies don't
night.
just murder you.
You've got 12 other months, 364 other days to be working out.
I
I mean, to be
see.
fair, like if Santa only has one night that he's eating all these cookies, I'm having more than one night in a year that I'm eating like terrible.
That's fair. That's fair.
But are you eating like 4 trillion cookies?
I mean, maybe not, but like,
I don't think Santa eats 4 trillion cookies.
I don't
gonna put-
No, but you're talking like average 2 cookies per house. Who knows how many houses?
Led, that's the thing. It's billions of houses. You're
We'll
eating
say 7 billion cookies. I think that's a good
You're eating
approximation.
lots of cookies.
definitely not. You guys are definitely overestimating.
What? Well, how many houses have how many kids?
I cut it by 1,000. I divided
That's
by
fair.
that's what it was. I think I'm improving on the situation.
For sure.
How many kids are there in the world, and how many are like, how many houses times that many cookies? We're in the hundreds of millions at least.
I don't know for the world, but the average household size is, I believe, 4 people per unit or something in the US.
Also, just to be clear, like you have to understand, like most of the world's population doesn't do Christmas. Majority of the world's population doesn't do Christmas.
Sure.
I'm
That's a
sure
lie.
that I'm sure that's changing now. Everyone has seen the Santa Claus. They know.
They don't like just because you do Christmas doesn't mean you believe in Santa. You can just be like, yeah, look at these idiot Christian people believing in this fake human being.
No,
But my
it's
God's
all
real.
these parents telling their kids Santa is real. No one else thinks this is real.
It's real to me, Chris.
It's all the fucking lying to kids is the whole problem here.
Also,
Lie
that
to
you
your
can eat some
kids is
free
gonna be the
cookies.
problem.
Wait, is that the whole thing? You lie to your kids that they'll bake you cookies?
The kids aren't making a cookie.
No,
You want
no,
a five-year-old
Brian.
make you some cookies.
Brian, you,
I'll
you
tell you
lie
don't
to your
eat those cookies.
you lie to your kids so they'll be nicer during December because you tell them if you're not nice, you're gonna end up on the naughty list. That's the
You're
whole thing.
bribing your kids to be nicer.
Yes.
And it works
Okay.
every year.
I mean, people bribe their kids all the time, right? Like that's normal.
I mean, you don't have to say Santa. You just be like, if you're naughty, you're not getting any gifts.
I know, but it's easier when they don't yell at you because you're not the one to blame.
Yeah, it's like, don't blame me. I don't make the rules.
Santa made the rules. I like write to Santa. Go to your room, sit in a corner, write to Santa.
All right. We should probably get back to the show. Let's. So after this challenge, where Amber and Steve won, we have the Vintage Alliance with three of them.
Vintage, not an alliance.
Yeah, sure. Then we have Tommy. Tommy the elf is the only available option to get kicked off. So Tommy and the three young people, Steve and Amber, align together to vote for Carl, the pirate, and the Vintage Alliance obviously votes for Tommy because they think he's not Santa, so he can't be best Santa, so he needs to get the hell out of the show. They're like, why was he even allowed to be in the show? He needed to get out of here.
So Amber is the only one in this whole thing that seems like she's actually thinking about how to win this and being like a reasonable, smart person. And there's this great
She's
scene
a numbers girl. I don't know if you've heard. She's a numbers girl.
I heard
She
she's a
mentioned that-
numbers girl. But there's this great scene where Carl is explaining to her how they have to vote out Tommy because he's not as Santa. And he's
So
telling
he's
her,
not a
well,
vintage Santa.
no, well, he tries to say it's not about being a vintage Santa because he tells her like she's more Santa than Tommy, so it's okay. And then it's like, but next episode, then she's the least Santa one, and then you're gonna get rid of her. And Carl seems oblivious to this, but Amber is not. Amber knows what's up, and it's like, I got to keep Tommy around. I got to break up these vintage Santas. So on the vintage Santas thing, so I'm looking at the photo of all 10 original Santas that like some of them which were already eliminated. There were only 3 Santas from the start that were male Caucasian with white beards. And after 5 eliminations, all 3 of them are still there. So there's
Because
definitely
they have the alliance.
some shenanigans going on.
The Alliance.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, like, okay, you're going to vote out. We're here to vote out the worst Santa. Are you going to vote out the one with the long white beard that dresses like Santa? Like, probably not.
The guy in the Hawaiian shirt's not even dressing like Santa.
Well, he only dressed like that in the elimination dinner. He didn't dress like that ever anytime
He dressed
else.
like that for the challenge.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
Which is a smart move. Lose the heavy jacket.
Yeah.
Okay, so while I'm not a vintage Santa Alliance fan, if the show Santa's in the barn, like they gotta all be playing the role of Santa. Like what? Like tomorrow, like someone's gonna be like, "Hey, we're doing a Shakespeare play," and I'll just try to come in as Batman. Like what the hell? Like what's like,
As long as you talk
DJ
like Shakespeare and you believe you're in the Shakespeare play, you're just 15th century Batman in Hamlet, then that's okay.
I'm imagining Batman talking in like Shakespearean English, and it's pretty good. I want this to be a
it just
thing.
doesn't like
Christian Bale could do it.
Like immediately as we were like 10 minutes into the show, I was like, I wish Amber wins, right? Like she is clearly the only person who has a brain in this show, right? And knows like how like TV shows work. But like and like these vintage Santas, like like this is garbage. They're just being like, yeah, like you gotta be old white male to win. But like Tommy, you're just not Santa. Like I don't know what to tell you, bro.
Like I like Tommy, but like when the vintage Santas are like, yeah, we want, we just think a Santa should win. You're like, that's fair. I think that's right. Like I can't argue with that. Like you're in a show called Santa's in the Barn. This dude's not
Right.
Santa.
The problem was when Carl was explaining to Amber, he definitely slips up and says, I just think a Santa should be a vintage Santa. He definitely slips up and says that. If he just says like, hey, like this dude's just not fucking Santa. Like, what do you want from me here? He's just in the wrong show.
Yeah.
But then they try to play it off as like, okay, it's not Santa. It's just like the person that brings the most Christmas spirit and embodies Santa, but doesn't necessarily have to dress like Santa. Like, what is this garbage?
I bet they talk about it in the first episode when Tommy rolls in and they're like, what is this guy? Why is he invading our show? And like they make a big deal about that.
I wish there was some like, and maybe there's is like, the real best way to show this would be like if like in the first episode, Tommy comes in and he's like, guys, like I want to be a Santa. I just don't think I have graduated to level of Santa. And I just believe I'm only good enough to be an elf. And I truly want to win this show and believe that, and really get the validation that I'm good enough to be Santa. Then I'd be like, yeah, put him in. Let's go, Tommy. But and maybe that's what happened. I don't know. I didn't watch first episode.
Do you think like maybe Santa isn't immortal and every time he dies, one of the elves is promoted to the next Santa?
Right. If that was Tommy's story, it'd be lovely.
Kind of like the Pope.
No, Max, it's if Santa falls off your roof and you find him, you are the next Santa. I saw a documentary about this.
Yeah.
There's a couple, I think.
It's called entrapment.
He lives beneath the lasers. All right. So at the end, they do this dinner where they say the Santacratic oath, and they cast votes on cookies with frosting, and it's a tie. Shocker. And the tiebreaker is very stupid, where there are 4 holiday cookies or something.
Christmas crackers.
Christmas crackers.
Chris holiday cookies for sure. Because instead of Christmas, it would be just Chris Holiday.
I don't know.
What about Chris Lorenz?
Holiday or Christmas crackers. And one of them has a red thing and the other is green. The red
Crowns. They're little paper crowns that you get in a Christmas cracker, Chris.
Okay. Well,
Is that really it?
Hold on.
You definitely get paper crowns and Christmas crackers. I can tell you from years and years of experience with this.
What's the
whoever
point of
gets
this?
the red Christmas crown gets to vote. They get their pick is the one. They get to kick that person off. So goodbye, Tommy, because Lauren got it. I think
Yeah.
one of the Vintage Alliance got it. And Rob, please explain to me what this is.
The Christmas cracker?
Yes.
Chris
This-
holiday cookie.
It's not a cookie to start with.
I know.
So
It's disappointing.
it's like a cylinder with some like ribbons on it, and it's got a little like small firecracker thing inside. So when you pull on it, it makes a loud noise. And then inside there's always a paper crown, like a fortune cookie kind of paper thing with like maybe it's a joke, maybe it's something on it, and some
cool.
like plastic toy worth like 10 cents. And you go through this phase where like you're 9 and this is so cool. You get this plastic toy, you put the crown on, you think it's awesome. Then you're 14, your parents are still doing it, and you're like, I really don't want to wear the crown. Do I have to do this? This is terrible. And then you're 25 and you're like, yeah, sure, whatever. I guess this is kind of fun.
Wait, your parents are still doing this?
Oh, if I'm not there this year, if I was there, they'd pull out the box of crackers, we'd pass them around. And like, you can do it where you pull on both ends yourself, but it's more fun that you tote the person next to you. You each hold one end and then you pull to rip it. Sometimes one person like doesn't have a good enough grip, and instead of it opening, you just rip it out of their hands, and then you gotta try again.
Oh,
Is your sister gonna go
sounds
home and do
silly.
this?
I think there is, well, maybe it's not socially distanced to open the Christmas. Maybe you have to do it by yourself this year, but I would say greater than 50% chance she's going to open a Christmas cracker this year.
Oh.
Do you go to
Big
the
time.
store and buy these? Like, is
Yeah.
there like better places to get them than others? Like,
I have never purchased one of these in my life. I show up at my parents' house, and at some point, mom pulls out the box of crackers. And sometimes I don't even see the box. Sometimes they show up and they're at the place setting, whatever you call it, and you're just like, oh, at the table, there it is. All right, that's my cracker. So
But
Uh,
are you saying that you will not be doing this for your daughter?
I haven't thought about it, honestly. Maybe I'll do it.
like
we
can
can
you
get a
get like a pop figurine, like cracker, like so you get better things inside of it instead of like a 10-cent toy?
I don't know. I've only seen ones with 10-cent toys. I don't know if that's the only kind there is, or if there are more extreme ones you can get. But
So your parents also put a crown on?
everyone is crowned. The parents, the aunts and uncles. I've seen,
This is crazy.
my dearly departed grandparents had crowns on. Back in the day. Like the only people who don't have crowns on are the people that are aged like 12 to 19. They're like, I really don't want to be part of this crown situation.
So your parents didn't send you a crown to wear to like do like socially distance via Zoom.
I guess it's possible that I'm going to get a package with a Christmas cracker in it, but I don't think I've got one yet.
Okay,
Well,
all right. That's the Christmas.
That's our summary of the show, Christmas Crackers in the Barn.
By the way, I found some on Amazon for $10. I think we should get some.
Like
Brian.
$10 each?
No, it's a 6-pack for 10.
Well, it seems kind of expensive for 10-cent.
I
toy.
thought
It's
you were
already
like
expensive.
20 pack for 10. That's what I need.
I thought I was gonna get like 100 for 10. This is not even close.
I feel like you should get a dozen for 10. That feels
Right. Right.
Well, this is Amazon, so
Maybe there's a
Alright.
premium on at this time of year. It's too close
True.
to Christmas.
oh yeah, I'll wait till after Christmas. Don't worry, we'll get it.
Yeah,
Then.
wait till Boxing Day. You get those on sale.
No, November 1st. That's when you got to buy your crackers. You got to be ahead of the game.
No, you buy them after Christmas for next
Buy in
Christmas.
January, store it, in your storage unit,
Yeah.
and then accidentally have them pop somehow in the summer.
All right, we got to move on. Let's talk about this like tiebreaker bullshit here, where it's just like, why even bother giving it to some guy? Just like pick out of a hat. Like, what does it matter? It's the same thing.
Well, I think part of it is that they let both the people make speeches, and technically, like in this case, it was alliance v alliance. Earlier episode in the show, maybe you can really turn someone.
I mean, there was no ties earlier, so
But there could have been.
It's simply a matter of more drama. Great, something we can throw on TV. Great, let's do it.
I mean, we also don't know if you can sway someone because Tommy's speech was terrible. And so if there was a chance for him to save himself, he definitely didn't take it.
The
Carl
other-
had a good speech, but
The other part is like, again, like in this case it was alliance v alliance, but like you technically don't know who voted for who, and so someone does have to publicly say they're against someone in this situation.
that's fair. I think you're right. Like the fact that Lauren kicked him off versus like the show just kicking him off.
Now, like there is a thing where like, so what's the vintage alliance? Is it Carl, Lauren, who's the third guy?
And the other old guy, I don't know.
I have it written down.
Like I think there will be a bigger target on Lauren's back than the third old guys.
Paul, Carl, and Lauren.
Paul, yeah.
Yeah,
Paul's looking really good now.
Paul's, yeah, this works out for Paul because Carl already has the target on his back, right? Lauren's the asshole who kicked Tommy off.
Oh, yeah.
Paul would have done the same shit, but we don't have to talk about that.
I still think they should. So they should have done the Survivor way. So I'll tell you the Survivor way if you don't know what it is. So if you tie, you revote again, but the two people that are gonna be kicked off don't get to vote for obvious reasons. And if it's a tie at that point, that would say that those 4 people would vote again. Then if it's still a tie, those 4 people would pick out of rocks, and the person that got the like odd colored rock is gone. They're the one that gets kicked out, and the 2 people that are voted to get out are still in the game. So it forces trying to be a forcing function to actually
Right.
get somebody out, because then it comes to like chance to see if you get kicked out or not.
When's the last time that happens?
It doesn't happen very often in Survivor because no one wants that to happen, but I've seen it happen like twice. So I don't think
I mean,
that
these people aren't that smart though. It would happen because like they're giving away special idols. Like it just you have to like the level of gameplay.
Well-
You're talking about chess versus checkers here.
Well, the question
So-
is, what would Amber do? Like, if we're talking about who's going to make a smart streak decision, like, there's only one
Right.
potential option there.
So I think that there's a mechanic that we might be missing. I seem to remember that like after this whole exchange of the compass, that he mentioned getting on Santa's nice list. And I don't know if that's like something at the end of the game or just
Oh,
something off the side.
he did mention that.
Maybe
was the
it has
only
to do with
mention
the
of that,
presents
though.
they received.
But this is one of the things that we
Oh.
don't know because we randomly watched episode 5. There was something in a previous episode where Tommy gave some sort of prize to someone else, but we don't know if it's a future thing or if it was something for that episode or anything.
I don't know.
Yeah. So maybe it wasn't so dumb. I don't know.
It's pretty dumb.
All right, so we ready
Yeah.
for questions? I feel like
Before going back to the vote, I just wanted to talk about we talked about it off the pod. Why was the camera when people are writing who they're voting for on the cookie this weird Paranormal Activity camera when it's not any other part of the show?
I think it was supposed to be a security cam footage because like they're not actually like it's supposed to be a security cam watching people do their stuff without actually there being and they're supposed to believe it's anonymous.
I mean, it's the security cam capturing your secret info is kind of ruined when you look at the camera and you say, "This is what I'm doing."
Right. No, for sure.
Rob, it's because they're writing on the cookies in blood.
Oh, that would have been good.
Then it's actually spooky.
yeah. Let's go. Let's do some questions.
Let's do it.
Please.
Let's do it.
Let's do who's the worst human being in this episode. I don't know if there's a great one. Carl, maybe.
I mean,
Donald,
all the vintage Santas are very holding up the patriarchy, kind of bad people. But I don't know if I can single any one of them out.
Yeah, but nobody's like truly evil in this show.
No, I don't even know if this deserves.
This is getting into a different question. What about the host? How do we feel about the host?
He's not an asshole either.
it seems like irrelevant.
Okay.
I
He
think,
cracks some stupid jokes.
I think we'll leave this one as a pass, but I wanted to bring it up just in case somebody.
You gotta bring it
I mean,
up.
like, has to be like if we have to choose, it's like has to be Carl. Carl's like, you suck
All right.
just
Well-
because you're not old white male.
Well, the other dude, not Carl. Like Carl was in the chopping block. The other one was like, "Oh yeah, you're just not Santa."
No, I know, but the Carl's conversation with Amber is
Yeah.
really
Oh.
rubbed me the wrong way.
Oh, it was Carl who was doing that. Okay,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
bad.
yeah.
My bad.
Yeah. That scene is like Carl's slightly low moment that
Yeah.
PG's talking about.
Right.
I'm in on Carl.
Is this the apex downgrade or upgrade for the host? I
I'm
mean,
gonna
it's
say
gotta-
the Apex. I don't
gotta
know
be
if
his
it's
Apex,
in anything else.
It's
But
his
you
own
looked on his
show.
IMDb, right? Has he been in something else?
Yeah, he has.
Well, then you tell us. Is it the Apex or
But it
not?
was irrelevant in those things, I think.
He's like he's a character bit part in like everything. So
It's Apex.
Yeah,
it's
hosting our
definitely Apex. Let's see. What's the most baffling or cringeworthy moment?
I got
most
one.
baffling moment was the guy stepping on the green laser 10 times.
The cringeworthy moment is the Santocratic oath.
That was very culty. I got one for baffling. So they're like getting dressed and like talking about their Santa costumes, and this one dude is talking about how much he spent on the belt. $600 on the leather alone, $200 on the buckle. Like, what are you doing spending $800 on a belt?
Don't
Okay.
forget about the little.
I got a counterpoint. Brian, in the last 12 months, or let's go, in the last 4 years, how much have you spent on video games?
Probably not 800. I don't know, but that's all like multiple things. But it's not like something I'm wearing like
It
for
doesn't
maybe
matter,
like
right?
a
This
month.
is this guy's hobby. Like, he will get as much, and like, he doesn't say how long, he's probably gonna have this for a long time, right? Like, he says he makes all his hats and stuff. Like, I truly believe if this is the thing he does, this is what he spends on, right? I mean, like, that's like, we all have
These
those
are-
things.
This is professional quality gear, Brian. When you're a professional, you spend the money for professional gear. You don't buy the $20 Amazon belt buckle and go down to like your local mall and be Santa. That's just not how it works.
Okay, flip side. People spend this much money on skis and snowboards all the time, and they use it for the winter. He got the belt. What's the difference?
Hey, fair. I just thought it was way too much for a belt.
Initially, I had the same reaction. Then I'm like, wait, like I spend like that money on some hobbies, so like why can't he?
It's not even his hobby; it's his job.
That part is unclear to me. I'm not totally sure. I
And we
have the
don't
background on the
know,
person. We
But I
don't
have
know.
to assume that like he's a display Santa somewhere.
Well, if that is his job and not just a hobby, then I have more questions because I don't think he can afford the $800 belt.
Well, that's his winter job.
Right.
His like part-time November, December job versus like his yearly job, which is
Right.
making Santa outfits for other Santas.
The rest of the time, he's a hedge fund manager.
Right. What if, right? Like, what if this guy's a millionaire? Like, we don't know.
We'd know if we watch episode 1, maybe.
That's true.
I doubt they would tell you that part. And like, he would get voted off pretty quickly. I feel like there would be a problem if there was a hedge fund manager in the show.
He keeps on the down low.
Right. Totally.
Do we have any? I've got a couple minor minutia moments. They start off the first challenge with ready, set, ho.
Oh,
instead
yeah.
of ready, set, go. Thought that was pretty fun. There was a terrible joke that the host made where they were cutting down the trees, where he says no trees were harmed during the filming of this show, which they literally just cut down a tree. Like, obviously you harmed that tree. What do you mean?
That tree's going to die.
That tree's dead.
It's not dead
Also,
yet.
I have a question. So the tree was already in a spot because they had cut it and put it there, right? And then they were just cutting it at a higher spot. Because like, how were those trees perfectly placed like next to each other if they were naturally there?
Yes, you are probably right.
You're probably
It's
right.
already died.
Did they plan for this show years in advance? Like, we got to plant these trees at this far apart, and then this is going to pay off.
They
This
could have
awesome True
replanted
TV
the
show.
trees there, Rob.
I think they had the cut tree, then they just like put it there, like
Yeah.
20 minutes before the challenge, and then they're like, okay, now here's the spot where you gotta cut it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyone else have any other minor minutiae?
I mean, there's that joke about the discarding the trees, which like I still am confused about, where he says you'll get discarded faster than a tree on January 1st, or me on July 4th. And what?
Yeah, I looked up his IMDb. He didn't do anything on Independence Day. He wasn't in Independence Day. He wasn't in a whole lot before this show in 2015. But he's been in more and more, like increasingly more stuff since the show.
Oh, then maybe it's not his apex if it's really kicking on his career.
But this is his own show. Like
So,
him being in a bit part in Brooklyn Nine-Nine in episode is not nearly the same as being your own host in your own show.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's fair.
But like outside of television, maybe not. I don't know. He was in what is that Comedy Bang Bang show? A couple episodes. Like, who knows what? Maybe he's a touring comedian. I don't know. Like, that could be his apex.
One other minor minutia is they pull a page from our favorite the History Channel, where randomly they'll just have a Christmas fact and have to go do a quick aside where it's like, in 1748
Oh,
there was
yeah.
the Christmas tree tradition began in Germany and stuff, and I don't know, brought back some memories of some other good shows.
I think like the fact stuff. I like the fact stuff. It's just like if they do it well. And sometimes they just like give you obvious facts. I'm like, yeah, everyone fucking knows. Like, you just move along with their life.
Did you know Christmas is on December 25th?
Right. It's just stuff like that. Yeah.
You know, Festivus was on December 23rd. Which, happy Festivus for the people
Oh,
on
yes,
the
happy
podcast.
Festivus.
So let's get some drinking rules. Let's do it. Brian, what kind of drinking rule you got for me?
Every time a bad joke is made by the host, there was a lot more than we said that I couldn't bring up for the minor minutia.
Yes, Max.
Every time you see a cookie, have some milk.
Ooh.
I think every time you see a new Santa outfit, take a drink. VJ, you got one?
I do. Rob, you go first.
Every time someone says the word vintage, take a drink.
The reason I wanted to go last is I thought like the obvious one was like if someone just says like ho ho in some format, take a drink, because they literally say that, like they try to like sneak that into all sentences.
That's
true.
a good one.
Yep.
I think you could expand it also to like any Christmas pun. You do a lot of Christmas puns.
Oh yeah.
That could be a good drinking rule. What do you think the production schedule of the show was? Rob, what do you think?
So it's set up as if it's an episode a day. Are they trying to get like 2 episodes filmed in a day, or is it 1 episode a day?
You think you're getting this old man to do more than 1 episode a day?
I don't think so.
That's 1 episode a day.
But 8 days, a little over a week, you bust it out, and you fly everyone home.
8 days, 8 crazy nights.
Why isn't there 12 episodes if it's a Christmas show? Shouldn't every Christmas show need 12 episodes?
The budget just wasn't there. Huh?
This is a Hanukkah show.
Oh, it's a Hanukkah. Oh, yeah. Great call.
I think Max just made that reference.
I did.
I know, and I just made it more obvious.
I needed it more obvious.
What shows inspired the show? Who is the mommies and daddies?
Every fucking show.
Every show. I mean, Survivor obviously has like an impact on like the voting here.
Well, not just the voting. It's like challenge, chat, other challenge, vote out. Like it has a very
It's Survivor.
Survivor,
Right.
cadence to it.
There's no teams in Survivor. There's no picking teams. There's no like. Sometimes, but not usually.
Sometimes.
I don't know if there's teams in this show every time.
It seemed like there were just teams.
It was definitely
Well-
implied that there's usually teams, but
Mhm.
it's possible sometimes there's not.
Yeah, how does that work when there's an odd number of people?
Right. It was implied though that the teams aren't always just duos.
Yeah. They kind of seem surprised by the number of teams.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what else. I'm sure there's a better analog than Survivor, but I don't know what it is off the top.
I mean, Survivor's the like ancestor
Of
Right.
a lot of shows.
yeah.
of a lot of shit. Like it's OG, so like it just kind of
Chris.
has to be the case.
Is Jingle All the Way an inspiration for this show?
That scene when they're in the barn and they're all
That's-
Santas.
The scene where they're all
Most-
Santas. That's what I was thinking.
Most certainly,
And there's a scene with cookies. It's all coming together.
it's all going together. All right. One of our final questions: would the show be better as a Queeby? I would say yeah. I'd say no. I think that 5 minutes would be too short for this show.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Definitely no.
And on to
I
our
thought-
what?
I was gonna say they actually thought like the show's pacing wasn't bad.
No, it's very good.
Right.
I think this is
That-
it's an obvious no, unlike last week.
Right. Well, I mean, they could also just split it up. Like, oh, here you do your challenge, then you get
That's
to
not a
watch.
Queeby. That's not a Queeby then.
Quibi's definitely done those type of shows.
I know, but that's not like in the spirit of the question, Brian. Come on.
I mean, the answer to is this better as a Queeby is always no, right? Like that's even Queeby decided no, you don't want it as
I don't know. The last week's episode definitely would have been better as a Queeby. That's why we got this question.
I missed last week's episode, so I don't know.
Oh, the great Christmas light fight. Yeah. Lucky. Let's get into our last and favorite question. Read ratings. So we do a stack ranking system where we do top, middle, bottom, trying to rank against other reality shows. Brian, what do you got for me?
Middle and bottom. Oh my god, like it's such a bad like Survivor ripoff. I can't even like laugh at it.
Rob, what do you got for me?
I disagree. It wasn't a great show, but like this is a middle third show. Like there was a lot of things that were solid about this show. Like we talked about the pacing. There was one point where they did a "this is what's coming up next" in the episode, which was terrible. But other than that, like it kept the pace moving pretty good. The challenges were at least reasonably interesting and kind of well thought out. It stuck to the theme pretty well. The elimination part wasn't great. That really hurt it. But it wasn't terrible. I think it's definitely a solid middle show.
Max, what do you got for me?
Middle third, bottom of the middle. My rebuttal to it being in the bottom is like this is a bajillion times better than 12 Dates of Christmas. This show is fine. I will never watch another episode of it.
VJ, what do you got for me?
So just like before that, so like like there's like the three top, middle bottom. Like I like it's I haven't done as many as you guys, so like I've been thinking about them as like top show I would go and watch. Middle show, if it's on TV, I'm watching, it's not paining me. And bottom, it's paining me. Like it is annoying, right? This in no way was annoying, right? Obviously, I would not like. I'll never watch another episode, but like this in no way was annoying. I thought the show, like the rules were reasonable, the editing was reasonable, the challenges were well made. I thought the challenges were definitely like I thought the challenges were good enough where if this were the challenges on the challenge, like there was like a Santa themed episode and this were the challenges, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds good. And so this will be bottom of the middle.
Okay, for the glowing review from bottom of the middle. So I'm gonna go top third. I think I like the show. I like the tone. I think it was fun.
But will you watch it again?
Maybe.
He's watching the last episode to see that tribunal.
See that tribunal.
I'm just saying, like, it's like that kind of has to be the case, right? Like, you can't be like, hey, this is like.
How many reality shows do you think I'm watching? We watch 50 of these a year. You think I'm watching 14? Like how many? Like 14 of these? Or I can't do math in my head right now.
16.
But I'm not watching that many reality shows. So like, I gotta compare this against those. And this was a fun show. It moved. I wasn't really bored. I thought it was fun. So like it gets a top third. There's so much garbage we watch that like
the pacing is really good. I thought the pacing, like, it wasn't, you're not just being like, yeah, just fucking move it along. But I wonder, like, if there's no Amber, like, and I guess there's no other season, so like there's not really a concern. But if Amber wasn't there, these people would have just annoyed the shit out of me.
It's possible. Yeah. I don't know. I think that just like the tone of the show was good. I like the tone. Like so many times the tone will pull down a show. And I think this time the tone pulled the show up. I thought it was just kind of a fun, everyone was like, we're trying to work together. There wasn't a whole lot of animosity other than like, there was a little bit, but that created some tension that I think works. So top third.
Chris loves Chris Holiday.
All right, let's do the updates or the shout outs. So Rob, you said you had a big one. So.
A big one. There's a lot of the main shout out, then I have a couple bonus shout outs after that too. So Masked Singer's done. Season 4 is in the books.
It's done forever?
Of course not. Maybe I'm done though. We'll see. There were 6 left, and so there've been 6 eliminations. So I'm gonna go through quick. Popcorn was Taylor Dane, who apparently had some big hits in the 80s as a singer. And Chris, you'll appreciate this. She was in the Broadway production of Cats.
Is Taylor Dane related to Claire Dane?
I do not believe the name is spelt differently, so I don't think there's a relation. Then we had the jellyfish, who was Chloe Kim, who's an Olympic gold medalist, I think, in snowboarding. So she was the best non-singer in terms of how far she went. And the seahorse, which really disappointed me because I was all in on the seahorse, is Jessica Simpson. And there were some signs. There was a Chicken of the Sea reference. I'm like, that's got to be Jessica Simpson. And instead it was Tori Kelly, who's got famous on YouTube and was on a season of American Idol but didn't get very far, and then sent some hits. And it's like, I don't know who this is. So that sequence was super disappointing. Just like, who are these randos I've never heard of? This is the worst. Then the finale picked it up much better than last year's finale. So the crocodile, there were a lot of sort of Backstreet Boy references with that, and someone guessed it was Nick Lachey, and I was like, oh my gosh, if Nick Lachey pops in when I thought Jessica Simpson was here, this is gonna be nuts. But it was Nick Carter of the Backstreet Boys, so pretty solid.
Yeah, it's big
time. One time his brother once beat Shaq.
Thanks, Max. And then second place went to the Mushroom, and there was some. I thought the Mushroom was going to be some Broadway singer from Hamilton that I never heard of, but it was actually someone I had heard of. It was Aloe Black. Chris, do you know who Aloe Black is?
No.
Yeah.
No. So Aloe Black is like, he had one of his clues was, you've heard my songs but you don't know my name, and he's definitely been in a few. Like, he was in this Avicii song. It's also, Chris, do you remember the Colin Kaepernick commercial for headphones where he's on the bus.
You think I watch commercials?
Yeah, well, that was a famous commercial, and Aloe Black sings the song in that commercial. So that's how I learned about Aloe Black. So I looked up who sings that song. What is that song? But the winner of Masked Singer 4 was The Sun, and I was again disappointed because I was from the very first episode. I was like, The Sun is Demi Lovato. There were some good Demi Lovato vibes. There's some good clues for that, but no, The Sun was Leanne Rimes, and that's your Masked Singer champion.
Yeah, I don't know a single person that you just mentioned.
You definitely know songs from Aloe Black.
Well,
Like-
I'm sure I know songs from Aloe Black. I knew the Backstreet Boy guy, but like, I couldn't tell you. You put the 5 up there, I couldn't tell you who that was.
Aloe Black, Nick Carter, I would recognize. You know, I mean, I don't know how he looks now, I guess, but
He looks kind of the same.
yeah.
So,
I
are you
guess
done
I
now?
saw him. He did like New Year's Eve, like 2-3 years ago, right?
Sure, I don't know.
I don't know. So,
Yeah,
what,
the
you
New
said you
Year's
might
Eve,
be
they do
done?
the-
I don't know. Like, season 3, the ending was disappointing. And then I was intrigued by Pandemic, Masked Singer, and how they were going to do it. And now the answer was weirdly, and now I know that. And so I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'm over it. We'll see how long it takes to come back. We'll see if Emmy convinces me to watch again. But
Do you think the Masked Singer might have had the dumbest and weirdest pandemic version of a show?
well, the weird thing is they just pretended it wasn't the pandemic, and they CGI'd in like well, not CGI'd in, but like they cut to reaction shots of the crowd actually being there, even though it wasn't. Like, that was just so strange.
It's also plays into the fact that they're pretending that the like crowd picks who gets eliminated, and they're just picking. So like,
They make references to super fans at home voting on Zoom, but again, it's very unclear how that actually.
that's not
plays
true.
into the
None of
voting.
that is like super fans on Zoom. What about the fans right around them? This is the fucking dumbest produced show I've ever fucking heard. And I can't believe they're just pumping these out and you're still fucking watching it.
Yeah,
Well, he's not watching it right now.
I mean, if the Sun had been Demi Lovato, I'd be like, yes, I got the winner from episode 1. I'm all in. And now Leanne Rimes like, I don't know.
By the way, Chris, this is getting tons of seasons. This Christmas thing, 1 season.
Yeah, I know. I'm not hip. I'm not with it.
We'll see if the Masked Dancer is more your thing, Chris.
Oh, I'll hold my breath. Which, if you're going to listen to us next week, that's what we're watching. So get ready. The Masked Dancer premieres this Sunday on Fox after blah, blah, blah on Monday, whatever, football.
Sunday.
So I
Well,
got a couple of quick
it's the
shout outs.
Game of the week or whatever.
A couple other quick shout outs is I finished Barry, or the episodes that are out on Barry, which is like not a recent show at all. And Barry is a real good show. So I'm not really going to go into it because, you know, it's been out for a while, but I like Barry a lot.
Thumbs up.
And I've also watched 4 of the 8 episodes of Ratchet on Netflix. And that show is freaking bonkers and just an insane show. And I don't really know what I'm watching. So
Well, get back to us when you do.
Yeah.
Brian, you have a shout out this week?
Nope.
Max, shout out this week?
Yeah, on VJ's recommendation, I watched The Flight Attendants. I don't think it was a good show, but I do think it was a fun show. So yeah, you know, you want to waste some time and go on a fun murder romp, watch The Flight Attendants.
Did you
Also-
finish the whole thing?
Yep. I also just finished Mandalorian season 1 today. I'm shocked that, you know, 5 movies later, Disney figured out how to make Star Wars.
I feel like Rogue One was really good, and the other 4 movies were not. But that's fine.
Yeah.
VJ, what do you got?
I don't think I've just been watching the MCU. Ant-Man is really good. People should watch it again. That's all I got.
So my shout outs this week, The Expanse is back on Amazon Prime. Season 3 is real good. I'm watched 3 episodes. Highly recommended. And Tenet is finally available to not risk your life to go see. So I watched Tenet, and it was good. I mean, I think it's probably bottom tier Nolan, but like, it was real fun. It's kind of confusing, so pay attention. But I recommend it. All right. Well, that's it for us this week. You can find us on Twitter at whoputthison. You can find us on facebook.com/whoputthison. You can email us questions and suggestions at whoputthison@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys next time.
Alfonso does host America's Funniest Home Videos, right? That's what it's called.
That's not the guy in this show, though.
How many times has he done the dance?
I don't know.
Oh, this is the guy from Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alfonso.
I don't know the actor's name, dude. I barely know the character's name.
Carlton.
It just clicked in my head when I heard Alfonso this time. Like I didn't recognize it the first time.
It took till you said the dance thing until I realized.
Right.